Am I the a-hole for telling my mom that her actions are why I'm cutting her out of my life? I'm 22 and graduating college next month, and I've spent the last few years walking on eggshells when it comes to my mom, Karen 50F. This might sound harsh, but she's the kind of person who can ruin even the happiest occasions. Growing up, she always demanded perfection, from my grades to my behavior to even the people I hung out with. If I wasn't valedictorian or getting awards, she'd barely acknowledge my achievements. She wasn't abusive, but it always felt like I was a project to her, not a person. I had to be the perfect son to reflect well on her. For example, when I got into a prestigious college, she told everyone how proud she was, but privately she said, "I hope you don't embarrass me by slacking off like some kids." When I made Dean's List every semester, her response was, "Well, you should. You're smart enough." Over time, I stopped telling her about my life. I didn't feel like I could share anything without her finding something to criticize. The final straw came last year when I got an internship at a top tech company. Instead of celebrating, she said, "Don't screw it up. You know how competitive that field is." I didn't respond. I just let it slide, like always. Things got worse after I started dating. My girlfriend Emily 23F has been a huge support system for me. She's been by my side for 2 years, and she genuinely cares about me. But my mom didn't approve of her. Emily is an artist, and while she's incredibly talented, my mom called her career a hobby and kept pushing me to break up with her because you need a partner who matches your ambition. Last Thanksgiving, Emily came with me to a family dinner. My mom ignored her the entire night, making passive-aggressive comments about how some people should prioritize their future over their fantasies. Emily didn't say anything, but I could tell she was hurt. That was the moment I started to seriously question my relationship with my mom. This past week, I hit my breaking point. I called my mom to tell her about my graduation plans. I expected her to at least be happy for me, but her first question was, "Will Emily be there?" When I said yes, she sighed and said, "Well, I hope she doesn't distract you during such an important milestone." That was it. Something in me snapped. I told her she was toxic and that I was tired of feeling like I wasn't good enough for her. I told her I didn't want her at my graduation because it was supposed to be a day of celebration, and I didn't want her ruining it. She acted shocked, as if she couldn't believe I felt that way. She started crying, saying, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me." I told her, "After everything you've done to me, I think it's fair." Then I hung up. Since then, she's been blowing up my phone, leaving voicemails about how ungrateful I am and how I've humiliated her. She's also reached out to my dad. They're divorced, and he told me I should try to make peace. He said, "She's still your mother, and she's just proud of you in her own way." But is she? I've spent my entire life feeling like nothing I did was ever enough for her. And now, when I'm finally standing up for myself, she's trying to guilt-trip me into letting her back in. Am I the asshole for cutting my mom out of my life? Or am I just doing what I need to do to protect my peace? Update. After reading some of your comments, I realized there was a lot about my mom I didn't understand. So I sat down with my dad to ask if there was something I didn't know. At first, he was hesitant, but eventually he admitted that my mom had a controlling streak long before I was born. Apparently, she was the same way with him, constantly belittling him and making him feel like nothing he did was ever good enough. He said, "It's not you, son, it's her. She's been this way forever." He said that he never wanted to ruin my mother's image in my eyes, but one day he knew that I would come to the conclusion on my own. That was both comforting and heartbreaking. I've decided to go no contact for now. My mom has always been the center of my stress, and I need to focus on building a life that makes me happy, not one that revolves around her approval. I know people will have mixed feelings about this. Some might say I should try to reconcile, but I've spent my whole life trying, and it's never been enough. I'm finally putting myself first, and for the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe. Final update. I thought going no contact with my mom would give me some peace, but I underestimated just how far she would go to get the last word. My plan was simple. Celebrate my graduation with the people who actually supported me. Emily, my dad, and a few close friends. I explicitly told my mom she wasn't invited, but I should have known that she wouldn't take that lying down. The ceremony was perfect, up until the end. I walked across the stage, took my diploma, and felt an overwhelming sense of pride. For the first time in my life, I was genuinely happy and free from her judgment. Afterward, Emily, my dad, and I headed to the campus lawn for pictures and congratulations. That's when I heard her voice. There's my son, the big college graduate. I turned around, and there she was, wearing a shirt with a blown-up picture of my face on it. She was holding a massive bouquet of flowers and marching straight toward me, ignoring everyone else. Before I could say anything, she launched into a loud, dramatic speech. Look at my son, everyone. I raised him to be the success he is today. All those years of hard work and sacrifice, and this is the result. People started staring. Emily tried to step in, calmly saying, "This isn't the time or place," but my mom wasn't having it. She snapped. "And who are you to tell me that? You're just some little girl distracting him from his potential." That's when it hit the fan. Emily fired back, "I'm the one who actually supported him while you tore him down." The argument escalated. My mom accused Emily of stealing her son and ruining our family. Meanwhile, my dad stepped in, telling my mom she needed to leave. She responded by accusing him of turning me against her. Then my mom turned to me, tears streaming down her face, and yelled, "You're ungrateful. I gave you everything, and this is how you repay me?" By shutting me out on one of the biggest days of your life, I took a deep breath and said, "You didn't give me everything. You gave me anxiety, self-doubt, and the constant feeling that I'd never be good enough. I didn't invite you because I wanted this day to be about my accomplishments, not your need for attention. Please leave." The crowd that had formed was dead silent. My mom stood there, stunned for a few seconds, before throwing the bouquet at my feet and storming off. Once she was gone, Emily and my dad tried to cheer me up, but the damage was done. I spent the rest of the evening feeling emotionally drained. My dad apologized for not stepping in sooner during my childhood, saying he now realized how much her behavior had affected me. Emily, as always, was my rock. She told me how proud she was of me for standing up to my mom and not letting her ruin the entire day. Looking back, I'm not surprised my mom went to such extremes. She's always been about control and appearances, and this was her way of trying to claw her way back into my life. But her actions only solidified my decision to go no contact. I've since blocked her on every platform and told my dad not to share any more details about my life with her. I've come to terms with the fact that some relationships, even with family, are too toxic to maintain. It's hard, but I feel lighter now. My graduation was a turning point, not just for my education, but for my personal growth. And for the first time in my life, I'm truly free. I just wish I could have did something different to make her understand before it got this far.